coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett low. 4 wide at the stripe. But Audie's win here on this outside line. Neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
Hello everybody and welcome once again to the OSCA Series, Truck Series. We're live here at the Magic Mile for race number 3 of the Seth Rawls Design 101 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And I'm your host, Michael Goodman. And as always, along with me is Kenneth Bueno. Kenneth, we've spent the first 2 weeks in Florida, but kind of headed up north to New Hampshire and going a little flat track racing this week.
Yeah, Michael, this is definitely one of the more interesting challenges we've seen this season. We've had our fair share of Florida racing, but I think finally we step out of the state, actually go up to the Northeast and New Hampshire. A very interesting track, one of the flattest tracks in the series, and also one of the most interesting short tracks we have at just over a mile. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun, and first time we're seeing a track other than a 1.5 mile or super speedway, so this should bring a new challenge to each and every driver tonight.
Yeah, I think one of the more interesting things that we see here, maybe we don't always see when we're racing even at New Hampshire, is downshifting from kind of a lot of the driver feedback during the week here as we look at the track map of New Hampshire, located in Loudon, New Hampshire, and track's a little over a mile in length, opened in 1990, and with the banking of 2 to 7 degrees, a little bit of progressive banking from the bottom to the top grooves. So usually like to see these guys kind of run that middle of the groove. That's where most of that banking is. And again, with that downshifting, to get that truck slowed down and maybe get a little bit more speed coming off. And I thought that was very interesting to hear these guys were shifting for this race. Usually you see this kind of stuff at Pocono or obviously a road course, Kenneth, but I think it's going to be very interesting to see who takes advantage of that shifting, who uses it, or maybe someone's trying not to shift and maybe can save a little bit of tires, but with how short this race is and with the caution clocks, it might not be that big of a deal here either for the tires. But as we look to the season schedule here, as you see, we are at week number 3 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and next week we head to Dover. So kind of sticking to the Northeast here, a little high banks. Martinsville after that, Kansas, Gateway, Michigan, Bristol, Las Vegas, as you see there on the screen. And again, I really getting to the diverse schedule that we have here, and I think it starts right here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's going to be a fun one.
It's definitely going to be fun. You saw there with the schedule, it's definitely going to work out very, very differently compared to a lot of the others, and it's definitely going to be a lot of fun as now the field seems to work over behind the pace car, and this is our time to take a look at your grid, so everybody getting ready for what should be a lot of fun here on the short track.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, they're gridding up right now, and it appears to be on the pole. There we go. Row number 1 will be Blake Barney, and alongside of him is Riley Marbello.
Back to row number 2, you'll find the 81 of River Hayes with Tate Lido in the 56, and one of the drivers who flipped over at Homestead last week, looking for a better run here at New Hampshire. He will start at the edge of row number 2.
Back to row number 3, Daytona winner Gerald Campbell starting 5th, and alongside him is Aiden Kirker.
David Carpenter in the 71 will round out your top 7, with Vincent Isabella returning back to the series in the number 42 machine. He will start at the top 8 in row number 4.
And row number 5 is going to be the bad boy Ryan Lutz in the 36 truck, and starting next to him is Barrett Palamas.
And then behind them, Gabriel Edwards in the 54 will line up row number 6, just outside of the top 10, with Matt Arcara in the 45 machine. He will round out in the 12th spot.
Row number 7 is the 23 truck of Harrison Talion, and alongside him is the 26 truck of Corey Shepard.
Then back to row number 8, Shaney Mantova in the number 20 machine will roll off from the 15th spot, with David Westergreen in the number 2 machine. He'll round out your top 16.
Pepe in the 96 truck will start in the 17th spot, and starting 18th alongside of him is Steven Schumann.
Back to row number 10, rounding out your top 20, rolling off from tonight. Nicholas Sneed in number 62 will start from the 19th spot with a 30.941. And Nicholas Monticelli looking for a better run after a struggling Homestead run to the finish. He will start in the top 20.
And then rounding out the field in the 4 truck is going to be Chris Jordan, starting in the 21st position. So 21 cars taking time here tonight. And if we could maybe look at the point standings coming into this race. As you see, Gerald Campbell is your points leader with 65 points. Harrison Talion in 3rd, Harrison Talion in 2nd, Vincent Isabella 3rd. And then kind of see how the top 10 shakes out. So again, with two halves here, 47 for the first half, 48 for the second. A lot of points to be had, and I'm certainly expecting this top 10 to be mixed up by the end of the night.
Yeah, they're definitely very close together. Either race here tonight, whether it be the first segment or the second segment here, Michael, it's definitely going to be interesting to see that the drivers gaining those points, those margins can easily start to clip back together, especially since pretty much the top 10 are separated by just 27 points, not as many as the pace truck is off. We're set to go green.
Here in the Seth Rawls Designs 101 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And trying to lead them to the green is Blake Barney. Not getting quite a big advantage going into one. There, he'll take the inside and clear the 09 truck coming out of turn 2.
Now back out of turn 2, Blake Barney will have the advantage going back into turn number 3, but a battle might shoot up for second place here as Marbello might be under fire from the 56 of Tate Lido. But one thing to notice here, Michael, you're seeing the banking not as much. It's so flat down on this track. It's hard to get the power back in, especially with the lack of banking. You're trying so much to get the rear tires gripped up, but there is not enough space. As you see everybody pretty much at the middle of the racetrack, they do not want to be the flattest part all the way to that yellow line.
Yeah, you want to stay, as you can kind of see right where they're trying to run on the outside of that bottom patch. I think that's where the most of the banking is going to be. You're going to see Ryan Lutz. He's going to be aggressive on the inside. You almost got to pull a slide job. There's a little contact. River Hayes goes around, and getting into him is Aiden Kirker, and just getting 3 wide. It looks like just a little bit of a calamity that kind of caused that wreck. And Ryan Lutz was kind of making the move to the inside. Might have kind of surprised River Hayes going into the corner and just kind of ran out of room. As we'll take a look at the replay. And brings out the caution, gets into Gerald Campbell. I guess so. I thought Lutz was a little farther ahead. Oh, here we go. Lutz is going to get a good run coming out of the corner. Tries to take a peek to go 3 wide. Just pushes up. River Hayes pushes up the racetrack a little bit, gets into Campbell. And then kind of chaos ensues behind that. And that's kind of what's going to happen. You're kind of fighting for that top groove. And a guy like Lutz going into the corner there, he's trying to just dive in the corner as hard as he can and do the slide job. Yep, it just slides up into him, and Kirker nowhere to go for him. That's unfortunate.
And you're looking back at what happened to River Hayes. You saw the machine right under him. Lutz tried try to go over 3 wide, and you'll see it right there. And trying to go back into turn 3, I think the 81 was just trying to anticipate the space to give Lutz, because I don't think maybe he anticipated that the space was there. As you see, the 36 dives into turn 3. The 81, I think, just tries to go up the track in order to give that space, but the space was already there. So then he gets into Campbell, sends himself around, and then Aiden Kirker, just another innocent bystander, as we're under our first caution of the evening.
Yeah, 3 wide's possible here. It's not totally unheard of, but it's tight, and just, you know, as we're talking about how flat this track is, it's hard to kind of get that truck to bite, and it did look like that 81 truck of River Hayes just slid up just a little bit, and that caused that contact with the 6 truck of Gerald Campbell. And but as of right now, Blake Barney still holding on to the lead as we are on lap 4 of 47 of half number 1 here in the Seth Rawls Designed 101 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Or is it International Speedway? I think I've been saying that wrong.
It is Motor Speedway. New Hampshire
It is Motor Speedway.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is Motor Speedway. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know why I was worried about that, but I felt like I had a little bit of brain fart there going on, but I'm good. But yeah, I think, you know, passing is going to be such a premier thing here tonight as well. And, you know, Dale Jr. made the saying, you know, famous a couple years ago with the battle between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch and that slide job. I think we're going to be seeing that a lot more once we go back to green.
Yeah, and you're supposed to use that banking to your advantage. I mean, there's not as much as you probably want to have here, Michael, but I think the banking should give enough to at least slide up the track a little bit, and at least that flat portion might be able to give you some room. I think I may have seen some drivers that were using that all the way flat groove and putting their left side tires on it in order to kind of corner it or make the corners a little bit better and get the car to rotate just a little bit more. But we'll see exactly what happens. It was only about a 4-lap run, so it necessarily wasn't too long, but we should be going back under green here. The 1 to green signal from the iRacing official pace truck should give us our green flag next time by. Blake Barney, Riley Marabello still going to be the 2 out front. So we'll see exactly what happens. Haven't seen much of the slide jobs just yet, Mike, but we might see it coming into this next run.
Yeah, we'll see how it shapes up once we go back green flag racing. I don't think we had too much of a tell of what the racing could be like, but hopefully we'll find out. And again, just a reminder, if there are no incidents, there'll be a 10-minute caution clock as well, and I think you'll definitely be able to see that before this stage ends here tonight. Stage 1 ends. So as we get ready to go green, Blake Barney leading the field here on the inside line. And the pace truck will be diving off here in just 1 second. And there it goes. And Blake Barney will lead them back to the green flag here in the Seth Rawls Designs 101. And gets a pretty good jump this time right off the gate. He'll go down to turn 1, take the lead, gets that preferred line and then outside line. But here we see Ryan Lutz. We see him right before the caution. He likes to go low. He's driving hard, and Tate Lytle gets some contact. He goes around, so far staying green, and he's kept it off the wall. That was impressive.
Oh, and he's able to keep it straight, but that is not good news. That yellow will not let anyone slow up for him for at that point. Now Tate Lytle is going to be behind the 8 ball as they continue on back to the front straightaway. Blake Barney is still your race leader, but the battle is heating up for third, maybe second now, as Ryan Lutz, being the aggressor here in this opening stage, he just doored the 09 for second place, and now he's got a shot to chase down the race leader.
Oh, and then we do have a yellow. There's a caution coming. I believe that was out of turn 2 there. There's a big pile up coming out. Looks like everyone's rolling. And there is the 18 truck of Keelan Belsha. Looks like he's got quite a bit of damage on his IK9 Toyota. And Tate Lytle looks like he'll be able to catch up to the field. Oh man, the 97 truck there of Levi Zielinski. It's more bad luck for him. Had a second week in a row. As we see kind of just a little bit of a checkup, a little accordion effect there. And Harrison Talion gets into Zielinski. And even more accordion effects. It looks like Westergreen got a little damage. Ooh, and that 32 truck of Josh Duke. Man, it kind of seems like ever since Daytona, Josh Duke has been a guy that just hasn't had quite the luck. Oh,
And you see him right there trying to be hard on the brakes to the incident, but it's hard to tell where things really start to happen. As you see the big pile up there, the 97 of Zelensky, the 26 truck of Corey Shepard, he was also involved in there. He almost went up on his side. You see the 2 of Westergreen also got a bit of contact. Keelan was right in the middle of it. The 23 of Harrison Thailand, he was also involved, so he's now down pit road. And a big incident, again, to set us under the yellow flag.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a little bit of a checkup or something that happened right in front of Zielinski before the second accordion effect kind of went on there. And that will happen, kind of battling for position here at New Hampshire Motor Speed, especially right after a restart. But, you know, again, not seeing too much of what could be shown, but I think one thing we have seen so far, and that's our second place driver, Ryan Lutz. He is aggressive, and if you're kind of new to OSCA or haven't seen Ryan Lutz race before, there's one thing that he will do. He will drive hard. It is a self-appointed nickname for me. I call him the bad boy, Ryan Lutz. The only thing he cares about is being up front and winning races, and I think that's where he's trying to head off into, as we've seen him pull some aggressive maneuvers this early in the race.
Yeah, very early, but it has proven effective for him now because he's all the way in second, and he has a shot to try and catch up to the race leader. But the only deficit here, Michael, is that he's got some damage to the right side of his race truck. You can see there, right on the rear end, he's got some spoiler damage. He got a little bit of right front damage as well. That was from the initial contact with, I believe it was Riley Marabello, where he was trying to dive to the inside and then made door-to-door contact with him. So that might not help him in terms of the straightaway speed too much, but at least the good thing about the short track is that you can get a good amount of damage and you can still be relatively fast. So maybe that will be the situation for that 36 Orion Lutz. Maybe the beneficiary out of it all in terms of trying to be the aggressor, but we should get the 1 to green signal this time by. We still have the pace truck lights on, so Blake Barney will still be the leader, but very different shakeup within the top 5.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what Lutz does with that damage there. I'm sure either way, if he had the damage or not, as we've seen, he's going to be aggressive, but it might change his strategy just a little bit of how aggressive he is, or if it maybe even more so, as they are going to be taking the one to go to green here. And one thing I can't remember if we mentioned that earlier too, but at the end of this stage, this week it'll be the top 10 that will invert. So, you know, and that's one thing that could be scary for a guy like Ryan Lutz, you know, kind of dooring Marabello when he was going by, and kind of how he just kind of bullied his way up through the field. Once they invert the field, it might be a little bit harder to pass these guys in the next heat, but we'll see how that plays out. And heck, you never know what could happen at the end of heat number 1 here in the Seth Wells Design 101. As again, Blake Barney once again will lead them down to the green flag here. And see if he can get a good start. I'm going to be curious to see how Ryan Lutz, how aggressive he'll be on that outside. Again, just talking about how aggressive he has been. Gerald Campbell, guy who's not shy of being up front. He's running in 3rd position right now. Pace truck is diving off, and they're going back green here at New Hampshire. And Ryan Lutz gets a great jump on that outside, but you see Barney's going to get the little advantage on the inside going into 1. But Lutz has that preferred line. He's going to get a good run off the corner. And it looks like he might take the advantage on the backstretch, but Barney is not giving it up easy as they are drag racing down into turn number 3. And Lutz driving hard on the outside, but so is Barney. He's drifting up a little bit, but they are just in a dead heat coming out of 4.
And right even back to the start-finish line. We're not sure who led that lap. I believe Lutz might have had it by just an inch over the 00 of Blake Barney. Here he comes up the outside. Almost contact, just trying to use that banking to his advantage. That's what's giving that 36 to 1 here, Mike. He's been able to use the banking while the 00 is kind of forced to use the flatter part of the racetrack, and that's why they're still at an even heat back into turn 3. But Gerald Campbell, the guys behind them, they might start to catch up if these guys tango.
Yeah, it's almost like Campbell and Isabella are just maybe waiting to see this battle play out. Lutz again having that preferred line, getting the good run off the corner, but you gotta say Barney on that inside, he's washing up the track just slightly. It's hard to stay down there and try to keep up with Lutz, but he is doing a hell of a job keeping up with Ryan Lutz as they're just drag racing lap after lap here, corner after corner. It looks like Lutz might have got a little high on in the groove. Barney might take a slight advantage. but he's going to have to drive in deep if he's going to want to hang on to that lead going into one. Barney takes the lead on that lap, dives in, slide job a little bit on Lutz, but maybe overshoots it. Lutz gets back on the inside, and they're side by side once again coming out of 2.
And look at that crossover. What a masterful job by Lutz to switch it up a little bit, go back to the inside, and still put the pressure on that 0-0. You saw the 6 of Gerald Campbell slightly get in the conversation, but it was definitely not enough at the time. Saw both of them washing up the track in 1 and 2, and they are still, Mike, side by side for the race lead on lap number 17. Back into turn 1, the 36 will have the advantage. He'll try to push up the track, and he'll clear for the race lead this time.
Once again, it's another crossover move for Barney. This time, he'll get back on the inside. It just shows you how evenly matched these two drivers are. It doesn't matter who's on top, who's on bottom. They are racing side by side. They're racing hard. Could we see another crossover move for the lead once again? Barney on top. Lutz trying to get on the inside. But this time, Barney's going to take the advantage, and Lutz will tuck in behind him as Gerald Campbell. He had a prime view of the lead. And you got to wonder, Kenneth, as we see Campbell getting a little loose out of turn 2, but Barney and Lutz were racing hard there for several laps for that lead. You got to wonder, are they going to burn their stuff up? Is that going to put a good spot for Gerald Campbell late in this stage to maybe try to pass these two?
It might have done it, but at least at that point, you're seeing the gap is growing between first and second to third. I might have expected here that Campbell probably was going to catch up to these two along with the 42 Vincent Isabella, concerning the fact that they were literally side by side, door to door, aggressive battling each and every lap and every corner. But at this point, they are still maintaining that gap. So although they were fighting very hard, they raced clean, and they were able to use their stuff up just a little bit, but it probably wasn't enough for the guys behind them to either gain that ground. But at the moment, still relatively early in this run, so I wouldn't expect the tire wear to kick in just as much yet, as Lutz will dive it into turn number 1, trying to get back to the back bumper again, as pretty much everybody from the top 5 is spread out.
Yeah, everything kind of looks to be calming down after that crazy battle for the lead. And so far, seems like pretty much throughout the field, everyone seems to be kind of single file racing here. And everything's going to be calm, and we might be seeing that caution clock going off at some point here in the near future, as we're probably getting close to that 10-minute time limit. But as of right now, I'm kind of wondering even if Lutz, and here we see Tate Lytle trying to make his way back up through the field. He is all the way up, worked his way back up into the 7th spot. He's going to try to put some heat on Marbello as they're kind of winding down, getting close to halfway in this stage. And looks like Tate Lytle will be able to take over the 6th spot. Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't Marbello. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong name there. That was a Polymus that he's running there in the 79 truck. And now Tate Lytle, after he clears Polymus, he's going to try to go after Marbello in the 5th position.
And a good run for Tate Lytle. We saw him earlier just spinning off of turn 2, although almost hitting the back straightaway inside wall. But the good thing for him is that he's already used those cautions to get up to the field. He's gained those positions as a result. And the good news for him is that he is currently riding 6, and he is charging through this field. You can see him already back to the back bumper of the 09 Marabello, possibly going to peek his nose to make a move. He'll try next time by, maybe hit the reset button. Maybe he'll dive here into turn 1. He'll have the space to do so. But the thing here, Michael, is that remember, there's still that top 10 invert. So no matter what Tate Lytle does at that point, wherever he finishes is where it's going to be inverted within that next stage. If, let's say, he's able to get up to the top 3, he's going to be at the latter half of the top 10 instead of being close up to the front of the field. But at this point, the battle has simmered down. At this point, Blake Barney's still in the race lead at lap number 24.
Yeah, he's kind of pulling away. Last we looked at these two between Barney and Lutz, it was bumper to bumper. But as of right now, Barney pulling to about a half a second lead over Ryan Lutz. As you see here on the ticker, Barney started first, currently first. He's been only real challenger so far has been Lutz for that lead spot. But as we're kind of watching Tate Lytle carve his way up through the field, getting back into the top 5, putting heat on Vincent Isabella coming on to turn number 4. Looks like he might be able to set him up going down into 1. But there is lap traffic 2 up ahead that could play a factor into some of these battles as we're getting a little bit late in the maybe caution clock area of this stage. But he's a guy too. If we do get that caution here in just a little bit, once they bunch him back up, I would expect Tate Lytle. He's a guy to go. He's not worried about that invert. He's worried about right now. He's worried about heat number 1. He's a hard charger. He's going to try to go for that front spot.
Yeah, but the good thing for Tate Lytle, I think the reason why he's been able to also catch up is that he pitted 15 laps ago. Meanwhile, the rest of the field has not pitted at all in its entire race. So that is also another testament to the beneficiaries that Tate Lytle has. He probably went down pit road, got some 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and now with all that grip, he's able to carve his way through the field. The question will remain, though, within the rest of the segment, if we don't have a yellow and if we continue to maintain ourselves on a long green flag run, how much will he use his stuff up before he'll equalize with the guys on the oldest tires that have not pitted throughout this entire segment just yet? We'll see whether the 56 has been using it a little too much. However, he's starting to carve in to 3rd place Gerald Campbell, and the lead is now still within over half a second, 0.649 that last time by, and they've really gapped the rest of the top 3. So forget the talk about the battle and how it could have harmed them in the end. It seeming to actually help them a little more as they're starting to pull away.
Yeah, Barney pulling away, and again, Lytle looks like he's still got those the fresh Goodyear rubber still on it. He's still charging, and he looked like he was throwing it into the corner hard. And it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a battle here with Matt Arcara with Palamas, and this is the battle for 7th position. As you see, he started back in 12th position. Ooh, and then Palamas in the wall. That will give Arcara the clean line on the inside. Looks like he'll get around Palamas here but again, that outside line getting a run coming out of 4. Oh, and he gets in the wall again. Rough couple of corners there for Palamas, and maybe trying to take it easy, regroup, get back in his groove as we go back up into the 3rd spot. And looks like that kind of gap is kind of starting to flatten out, starting to equalize a little bit between Campbell and Tate Lytle, but again, a good run. Maybe now looks like he's closing in a little bit on Gerald Campbell as we're going to lap 30 of 47 in heat number 1.
Yeah, already coming to the final home stretch of this first segment. But what I'm going to notice here, Mike, is that if we end up getting that caution clock, I'm not sure whether we will within the next 17 laps, but if we stay green, we probably will at the late portion of this race. I'm trying to estimate where that might be. However, it will probably, I'd say, within the final 15 laps or so if this stays green. Obviously, there's still that leeway for a yellow flag to come out at some point in this race, in the rest of this segment. However, it may not be so much considering how spread out the rest of this field has been. And we've talked about drivers who have been cutting their way through the field and talking about another driver also gaining positions in this later run. And there's the yellow flag. As soon as I mention it, the caution clock, at least the caution comes out at lap number 31.
Yeah, that will again bunch up through the field, and as you see, the 4 trucks be able to stay on the lead lap right ahead of Blake Barney, and this will kind of throw strategy that Tate Lytle had those fresher tires. We'll see who's going to go down pit road. Are these guys going to try to stay out and finish these last few laps? Oh, it looks like Barney was trying to warm his tires up. Might have made a little contact with the wall. Try to see if there's a little bit of damage on the spoiler there, maybe. Kind of hard to see. It looks like it's being pushed up a little bit, but that's kind of interesting. I don't know if he was kind of messing around, and it might have kind of backfired on him there, Kenneth.
Yeah, maybe did. Gave him a little bit of damage. But the good news is that he'll be able to go back down pit road and get some of that repair, or get some of the damage repaired right there, at least within the next lap or so. We should see everybody on the lead lap, including the leader Barney, head down pit road, and he'll make the left. They will signal their way, and they'll all come down. And just a reminder, as soon as I was mentioning that we might end up with a caution clock within the final 15 laps of this first segment, that was the caution clock. There were no incidents on the racetrack. It was just a matter of the officials to wave the yellow flag that time by. So at least for anyone else, there has been no harm, no foul for the rest of this field, and now Barney will lead them all down pit road.
You'll see who leads the race off of pit road as everyone is tucking down, trying to get those fresh tires for that last little stint here in heat number 1. And it looks like Lutz might have taken 2 tires. He gets out, and he's going to pull away with a big advantage. And behind him, I believe Barney's going to come out in second. and Gabriel Edwards coming out in third. So we're going to see a little bit of a mix-up top 5 than what we've seen in this last stint. This is going to be interesting. How is that going to work for Ryan Lutz, do you think, with the 2 tires, with your left sides being about 33 laps old under green?
You know, Mike, I don't necessarily think this is a terrible call by the 36 of Ryan Lutz by any stretch of the imagination. Those left side tires, or at least one of the side tires that he might have gone on pit road to get that advantage over the rest of the field off of pit road, especially if you're able to get at least one side of the tires gripped up. At least at this track, it doesn't necessarily harm you as much. I think if, let's say, he made this decision at Homestead, I probably would be questioning it, probably wondering why he probably took just 2 instead of all 4, because it would matter more to track like that. But here at New Hampshire, it probably might pay off for him. He might be able to hold off the rest of this field. And remember, we saw how quick he was even on old tires, Mike, throughout the rest of the field, even sticking with Barney, maintaining that gap with about half a second or so and pulling away from the rest of this field. So this might be a good call to pay off within the final 13 laps of this first segment, as I think we have one driver all the way to the inside. I think that might be the 97 of Levi Zelensky, who's pretty much stopped all the way in the road course section of the back straightaway. Not sure whether that will end up proceeding to any further yellows, but we'll see how the officials decide that. But not necessarily a bad call here. I think 2 tires might be the beneficiary.
And I've been a teammate of Ryan Lutz in a couple different leagues, and actually currently am. And there's one thing I know. I've seen this man do this before, take 2 tires when I've called him crazy, and he's been able to pull it off. And again, it's that aggressive driving style that he does have, as we are going to 1 to green. You know, if a lot of times to make that 2-tire pit stop work, you got to have the confidence to do it. And I'm sure Gabriel there too. He knows he's you see on the back bumper for Gabriel Edwards, HMS hometown hero. He knows this track. Ryan Lutz, he's confident in his ability. I'm sure these 2 guys who took 2 tires, they're prepared. They know what they're getting themselves into. And I think they're gonna make this work to at least come out in a wash. I think we're gonna see these guys kind of run back, maybe where at the very worst run back to where they kind of were before. But we'll see what Lutz does when he has that. He controls the green flag here, so it's gonna be interesting as we get ready to see the pace truck dive off. As we see how close Barney and Lutz are getting, they're not gonna give each other much room as we get back ready to go green here in the Seth Rawls Designs 101, and Ryan Lutz leads him back to the green, but Barney right on the outside. He's going to challenge. We've seen this before. Getting down into turn 1 side by side. Ryan Lutz trying to push up the track. Oh, and there's contact. Barney up on the track. He's going to lose several positions. Lutz is going to get now challenged by Gabriel Edwards, the hometown hero. Can he pull off a stage win here? That would be kind of cool to see. And Campbell, again, now taken back into 3rd. But, again, Blake Barney, now he's going to work his way back up, falling all the way back into the 5th position. And he's got some work to do if he's going to challenge for this heat win. As right now, these guys are jockeying for position. Oh, and you see Barney diving it into turn number 1, pushing Lytle up the track. He's aggressive. He wants to get back up to the lead. Ooh, man, this is going to – I think we're going to see a very good finish for heat number 1 here.
And you can tell Blake Barney is not happy about that contact because he is aggressively bullying his way through the field. You saw him right to the inside of Tate Lytle, almost contact with there. There's even more contact behind them as Vincent Isabella had door-to-door contact with a fellow Tundra right at the inside, and he's already back to 3rd, charging all the way to these top 2 as you're going to be riding on board with the driver of that number 00. And you saw there, Mike, it was definitely scary for the 00 to get pushed up the track. He almost got sent right in the heart of the field in the hornet's nest, but luckily for him, those tires and the speed he's carrying right now is certainly giving him that advantage. He's now closing in on the top 2.
Yeah, he's got it hooked up, and I'm sure he's got one target, and that target is the number 36 truck of Ryan Lutz. As we see, as he's going to try to chase him down with just about 10 laps to go, 9 laps to go here in heat number 1. We look out the back of Ryan Lutz, those 2 tires. He hasn't been really able to pull away from Gerald Campbell either. He's got about 0.3 of a second lead over Gerald Campbell, and right behind him is going to be that 00 truck of Blake Barney. And who's gonna do it? If I were Campbell, maybe let Barney by if he's gonna put too much heat on him, and try to see Lutz and Barney battle it out, and he might be able to steal a win here. But we got a mix up here for about the 4th position on back between Marbello and Edwards as they're side by side, and behind them Tate Lytle and River Hayes. Nice rebound for him. It's good to see him back in the top 10 after that early contact in the race. We've seen him start 3rd. He had to go all the way to the back as you seen when he got that damage to the left rear of his truck. So he's been able to come back and salvage some points here, a good points run, and looking for more as he's kind of waiting out to see who's going to win that battle between Gabriel Edwards and Tate Lytle. And backed up to front, now that target's getting closer. The 36 truck has got the 00 to worry about behind him of Blake Barney. Who's going to win it between Lutz and Barney as they come on to turn number 4? They're going to complete lap number 41 as they hit the line.
And it is a big battle from 4th on back. You saw Riley Marabello in the middle of all this. There's River Hayes, who we just mentioned, had went around to bring out the first caution in the opening laps of this race. He's now in a dead heat battle with Gabriel Edwards and the 20 of Shane Mantova, another driver we haven't spoken to, at least spoken about since last week, but there's contact even further behind. Hayes gets turned around, door-to-door contact with Gabriel, and a caution flag waves with just 5 laps to go.
Just can't catch a break. River Hayes, it goes around again. And all that hard work that he's pulled off in this heat. Oh, he has to go all the way back and maybe try to do a last couple laps. You know, we're getting down to 5 laps to go here. Not sure how much time he'll have to climb up through the field and just washing up the track. You know, maybe the 52 truck could have given him a little bit more room, but hey, you're racing down to the wire in heat number 1. That's bound to happen. Yeah, and just Hayes washing up the track a little bit. I mean, it's just tight racing there. You see, he's trying to hold his line. Hayes washing up the track. It's gonna happen when you're on the inside, and round he goes. Unfortunate for him. So yeah, starts 3rd, and probably about the 2nd time he's gonna be all the way back to the end of the pack. And oh, I mean, even gets the right front off the ground a little bit, and hopefully there's not too much damage, and hopefully he can, that's the view for Shane DiMantova, and able to dodge that wreck and avoid troubles. That very well could have been a lot worse, Kenneth.
Yeah, definitely could have been a lot worse, but that is heartbreaking for the 81 of River Hayes, who was doing such a good job to climb back up the hill, or at least crawl himself back out of the hole that happened, or at least got dug out in the opening laps of the event. And now Hayes will have a long trip down pit road. He is currently sitting 13th. You see him there putting some tires on the race truck and also trying to get some of that damage fixed. He did have some of that right side damage prior to the green flag run, so he did keep that instead of fixing it and staying the more time down pit road. What I'm going to be interested here to see, Mike, is the battle between the top 2. We saw how dead even and how close it was, not only in the opening laps of this race, but right in that recent restart where the 00 got shuffled out of line and had to crawl his way all the way back to 2nd. Now he's going to be starting on the outside of row number 1. And we'll see just how close they get and how aggressive that 00 is, especially now this is for the win in this segment.
Yeah, I think all the people viewing here on KBRN, they're going to be in for a treat. For I think between the 00 and the 36, and another one who might be licking his chops a little bit is Gerald Campbell. Maybe, you know, he had a front row view of that contact earlier. He might be aware of what's going to happen on this restart with 3 laps to go. It's going to be, I think we're going to shape up to an awesome finish here, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, remember, Michael, we have drivers still in this dogfight. They still have drivers behind them. Gerald Campbell, Riley Marabello, Tate Lytle, Gabriel Edwards. These are drivers that we haven't seen necessarily compete with the top 2, I think, toe-to-toe, but at least they have a shot. Let's say the 36 and the 00, they get into trouble, they get into contact, and maybe they get sent around or one of them gets sent up the racetrack. That could give the door wide open to either Campbell, Marabello, or any other driver behind them to try and nab the race lead and take away the win. We've seen it before in the real-life Cup Series where the top 2 drivers have collided for a race win and has allowed the 3rd-place driver to sneak by for a win. I've seen it multiple times on the sim. It is definitely still possible. It is not out of the woods just yet. So we'll just have to see. We've got the 1 to green signal by the pace truck, and now it's going to be all down to 3 laps for the 36 to lead this field back to green.
Yeah, can he hold it on here? Now, I'm not even worried about the tires of that for Ryan Lutz only having the two right side tires. It's going to be how aggressive is that 00 truck going to be alongside of him, of Blake Barney. We've seen that contact. They're going to be running hard for the win, and I'm going to see how Marbello in the 4th position versus Gerald Campbell in row number 2. They're going to be battling out because they could be in that prime position as well if anything does happen ahead of them. And we're going to get ready to see the pace truck dive off as we're going to settle it. 2-lap shootout, green-white checkered shootout, as Ryan Lutz is going to lead them back into the green flag. And here we go. Who's going to win it? Ryan Lutz is going to lead them to the green, but Barney's going to get a good jump on the outside. They make contact. They go all over the place. Oh, man. Everyone able to save it. Gerald Campbell trying to take advantage. Marbello trying to get on the inside. They're 3 wide. For a little bit coming out of 2. Oh, man. And now we got another caution. Another caution out on the speedway. As it looked like it just appeared the whole field had to stack up there from that early contact between Lutz and Barney. So that run did not disappoint. Wow. That was crazy.
I think we might have to take 2 replays here, Mike. That was unbelievable. We'll try to see what happened with this first incident. Saw the 24 of Steven Schumann go around. I think there were a lot of drivers in the midst of this pack. It was a very large group. You see here, 24 right ahead of Wester Green. There's River Hayes as well, the 42 Vincent Isabella, who got mired back in the field. This is the entrance back into turn 1. Remember, everyone's still aggressive. You see the contact up ahead between the 79. Matt Arcara got loose as well. Luckily, he was able to save it. And then as the 79 was getting crossed around the racetrack, Wester Green gets to the back of the 24. Even extra help from River Hayes. And it was 2 trucks that went around at the exit of turn 2. We'll find out, though. Watch this battle for the lead. Watch this entrance to the restart. They made door-to-door contact in a 1. That could have been disastrous.
I can't believe both these guys saved that. It looked like it was just a chain reaction of events, and it probably started all the way up in the front. Just not a good restart. I don't know, maybe spinning the tires for Ryan Lutz as they go down into 1. It looks like netcode kind of was the key to that. Maybe not, a little aggressive driving, a little netcode. Everyone able to keep it straight. You see 3 wide there, and it probably just crammed everything in the back as you seen just calamity kind of going on behind him. Schumann, Palamas going around, and Vincent probably didn't look like the hero there because it looked like 2 trucks kind of spun around him or spun off his front bumper that kind of led to that caution. But it appears it was just more of everyone kind of checking up from these 2 leaders kind of getting together. And that's what's going to happen with these type of events where you're getting late into that restart. Like you said, everyone throughout the field trying to get up into that top 10. They want to start up front if they can for heat number 2. And got to calm it down one more time because this storm isn't over yet, Kenneth.
Yeah, it's definitely not over, especially with Lutz and Barney still close together, 1 and 2. But I think I was going to notice that there, if they stayed green, if they had not made contact, that 00, I think his plan was to try and get as close to the door of the 36 as possible without making contact, but also trying to pinch him into 1 and 2. We've seen it so many times already within side-by-side battles that the drivers who pinch to the high side, they're able to get the run. We saw it. That's how Ryan Lutz was able to hang in with the 00 Barney when they were battling for the race lead in the opening laps of this race. He was using the banking and pinching the 00 to the bottom, making sure that when they get to the middle of the corner and the exit, he's able to still get that run off the banking and make it a little more smooth, while the 00 has to fight the car a little bit more in order to kind of seam it off of the straight banking there, or the flatter banking over at the bottom where the yellow line is to the bottom of the racetrack. So I believe that's what the 00 is trying to do, and that's exactly the motive he might take again, as we're going to double up again. 3 laps to go on a green-white checkered for segment number 1. It is still not over. Lutz and Barney, again, going to be at the head of this field.
Yeah, this has been the battle to watch so far in heat number 1. And kind of more to speak, too, about, trying to pinch the driver down. Not only do you get that good drive off the corner, as we've seen, I believe we're in the in-car view of Gerald Campbell earlier on, and he kind of took that exit a little bit lower, and you do get loose. Not only do you not get quite the good runoff, you can get a little bit loose, especially when you're still in 3rd gear if some of these guys are shifting. and that could certainly be a big part of what Barney's trying to do. There's a couple different advantages he gets if he can stay on that outside. But here, Ryan Lutz, he's going to look to try to get the best restart he can, as we're going to see the pace truck dive off for another green-white checkered here in the Seth Rells Designs 101 for the OSCA Series. And again, Barney's going to get a good jump, and he's going to take about a truck-like advantage going down into turn number 1. Lutz is going to try to dive hard, and they're going to push him. He's going to push him up the racetrack, and now Campbell's going to try to look underneath Barney coming out of turn number 2. And oh boy, well, we know Barney, he's looking to attack back as we're going to come down to the white flag. Who's going to win it? As of right now, Lutz is going to take that advantage coming out of turn number 4.
That might have not been the best run. You saw the 36 all the way to the yellow line, up the exit of turn 4. Here comes Barney to the outside. Door-to-door contact. They're both on the outside wall. Here comes Campbell to the inside. They both make contact again. Around goes the 0-0, and we've reached the white flag. Campbell's now in the lead. At the head of the field, Marabella gets turned around off turn 2.
Tate Lytle turns Marbella. Oh man. And what did I say? Gerald Campbell was licking his chops, waiting for that battle to play out, and Gerald Campbell is going to be the first repeat winner of the OSCA Series as he takes away heat number 1. We see him wrecking down the front stretches. Calamity happens as we take the checkered of heat number 1. Man, oh man, that was wild.
Unbelievable finish. That was aggressivity, I think, and epitomized there. And you saw that, so aggressive. You saw the 0-0 right up to the outside wall, and you saw that the 36 had nothing to do with it, but he cost himself the win at the end there. And Campbell, I said it there before we went green. If those two got into a tango, the third place driver can easily sneak by. That's exactly what happened. And Campbell with another win to his resume.
Yeah, gets another win, and maybe he's in the interview room here. We'll get him on here quick. Get a quick interview while we're under our 5-minute break here. And Gerald, the first repeat winner in the OSCA Series, and we knew that was going to be shaping up to be a pretty crazy green-white checkered restart. What did you see out your windshield there?
Very predictable. it was very predictable. You wonder why I just let the 09 by, or the 0-0 by, is because I knew those two were. I saw that happen. That was like 50 laps of lead up to that point. So my strategy was just to just take it whenever those two decided to leave it on the table. So I took it.
For another heat win. And also, you extend your points lead. So, yeah, so far looking so good, looking good for you points wise. Now you have to start back in the 10th position for stage number 2. What's your strategy going into the second heat here?
Well, everyone's already pretty angry, so just dip, dodge, and duck, and all the other D's that you could throw into there, because everyone's gonna just lose it. I feel like the first part of the race was pretty clean. A lot of people giving and taking. Second part of the race, I don't feel like that's going to be the case at all. So I don't know if I'm happy to be in 10th, just because everyone's just, man, some of those guys are just going to get into the turns when they know absolutely there's no making that turn when there's a car on the outside. They know that. They know the four tire to 8 tire rule, where the 8 tires are always better. So when you got people going into the turns like that, you're gonna have a mess, and these restarts are just stacking them up to where the mess has just been. I feel bad for the guys all the way in the back, because they've got nowhere to go. They got nowhere to go when these guys in the front here start racing like that and jamming to check up, and it's just gonna be starting at 10th, just trying to figure out. Figuring out what I'm going to have to do to try to make sure I don't get involved in any of that. So I'm hearing a lot of EOLs at the end of this race, so I might not be 10th. I might be back up in the top 5 before you know it, when they get done with all these EOLs for the start of this race.
Yeah, looks like so far that you didn't anger too many drivers, so that was getting the win, and maybe not having too many angry drivers at you. That might bode well for you here in stage number 2. But again, congratulations, Gerald, and good luck to you in the next run here.
I appreciate it. Maybe I'll get to talk to you guys if I'm super lucky. So maybe I'll talk to you next time.
All right, sounds good. Go get him.
Yeah.
Again, that was Gerald Campbell, winner of heat number 1. And Kenneth, I think after all that excitement, all that craziness, we're going to take a quick short break, and we'll catch you on the other side and get you set up for heat number 2 here, the Seth Rawls Designs 101 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
We're back here for the OSCA Series heat number 2 of the Seth Rawls Designs 101 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As you see the field gridding up, River Hayes is going to be on the pole, getting ready to come back to start this next stage. But interesting developments, as Gerald kind of led to in his interview, that there's going to be some EOLs handed out, and from so far what we've seen, as you see Ryan Lutz in the 36 truck and the 00 of Barney, as you see him on the top of your screen in that blue truck, they're going to the back of the field.
Yeah, that's not going to be good. I mean, the aggressivity and them being very aggressive in that race, I mean, it didn't end up paying off for either of them, since Lutz didn't necessarily grab the win away. He did survive for a second. Barney, I think, got the worst of it, and now as a result, the officials finally decided it was enough to separate them, put them in the rear of the field, and now both of them will have a very high uphill climb. But how about this front row? River Hayes, Steven Schumann, guys who struggled in the first segment, will have that shot to rebound and get a redemption here as we come off of turn 4. Going to get the green flag shortly.
Yes, they will, and River Hayes will lead them to the green here in heat number 2. And for all those you watching on KBRN, you can ask us questions up in the booth. We've seen some crazy action in heat number 1. What do you think's going to happen in heat number 2? As we take the green flag, you can join the conversation by using hashtag AskKBRN. And is a wild start there in the back of the pack, but River Hayes is going to take the lead down into turn number 1. As he's going to come out turn number 2, and Schumann's going to take second, but behind him are Cara, and I believe that is the 93 truck of Monticelli, and there's a caution on the speedway already. But things heating up already.
I believe it might have been Josh Duke in trouble. He's one of the slow cars, and he also has some significant damage to the rear end of his truck. So we'll see exactly what happened to his Chevrolet Silverado. We'll try to take a replay, see exactly whether he got turned around. I think that might have been the case here, Mike. Just getting back into turn number 1. It's been so treacherous, and we've seen it over and over again. You see it here with the 79 of Polimus, the number 4 machine underneath. And I think it might have just been a case of just getting loose, and that it was. He didn't get any help. Just spun the rear tires a little bit too much, had slight contact with the inside barrier, and now he's the reason for our first yellow on lap number 1.
Yeah, and that will happen. You get a little loose when you're maybe shifted a little too late, got the rear tires out from under him, and spins it around. Yeah, as we kind of asked or told you about it late. Again, if you do want to join the conversation again, use the hashtag AskKBRN, and we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. Because I'm sure there's a lot of questions or comments or heck, even give your predictions on what do you think is going to happen. Are we going to we've seen Lutz and the 36 truck of Lutz. We've seen the 00 Barney go to the back. Are they going to make their way to the front? Are they done playing around with each other? Give your comments, ask your questions right here on KBRN because, man, the action so far, Kenneth, in this race hasn't disappointed to the by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it certainly hasn't, and none of it's dialed down from that first segment. And I was expecting a lot different from New Hampshire. I was expecting calm racing, long green flag runs, maybe some strategy in the cars. I was certainly not ready to handle all the chaos, to handle all the aggressive moves and everything that's gone on so far in that first segment. And already in the second segment, not a chance yet to see whether the aggressivity has ramped up still or if it's still dialed up to 11. But that lap 1 incident with Josh Stug obviously kind of hampered everybody down and kind of calmed everybody, rebunched them again. But it's going to be interesting to see here how guys like Lutz, guys like Barney are able to carve their way back through the field because they were the fastest trucks in that first segment, and I'm sure that they continue to hold that speed in this second one. And in practice, I don't know if anyone noticed there, but Lutz was the fastest truck on the racetrack with a 30 flat on a lap time. So it is going to be fun to watch them get their way to the field, albeit it's probably not going to be very easy. But River Hayes, Steven Schumann, again, as I mentioned, looking for that redemption as we probably might get the 1 to green signal next time by.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get the 1 to go single. They'll double them up, and it could be curious to see. We heard Gerald Campbell say a lot of the drivers are mad at each other. That's maybe not fun to be on the racetrack, or maybe even Vic Bloom running the league. It might be a headache for him to deal with. But for us up in the booth, we're safe up here. For you watching at home at KBRN, we get to enjoy the craziness that's involved, and the great racing they have also provided, the entertaining racing that they have provided as well here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, as we do see the field doubling up. As it appears, the lights are off. And again, on the front row, Hayes will lead them to the green, and Schumann will be in second, Arcara in third, and Monticelli will be restarting in fourth. So yeah, see, these guys that were on the back half of that top 10, we'll see what they can do if they can hold off some of those hard chargers like Lytle, DeMantova, Campbell. What will Lutz and Barney do all the way back in the pack? As I believe currently right now, Barney's back around the 18th position, Lutz in the 19th position. Might have to play the Offspring song, keep them separated, and see how that works out with them both in the back of the pack. But here we go, back to green, as the pace truck's gonna tuck on to pit road. And here goes River Hayes as they are back green here at New Hampshire. And a good start for the 81 truck as he's gonna pull away, and he'll take that advantage on the inside line going into turn number 1. And although Schumann getting a good run, he's going to challenge for that lead coming out of turn number 2. It looks like they're going to be in a dogfight side by side, but River Hayes getting a good run on that inside. We haven't seen too much of that. And now our car is going to throw his hat in the ring for that second position. And how about Monticelli? He restarted back in that 4th position. He's holding on strong. Might be losing a few spots now as DeMantova and Edwards. Oh, and Lytle in the wall, goes around. It's the inside wall. I think the 96 truck of Tepe, and again, Zielinski. Tough luck for him. I believe since his return, he's been having nothing but bad luck in this series so far. Unfortunate for that 97 truck, kind of a victim of circumstances there. I'll be kind of curious to see Lytle. We see how fast he was, and he hasn't had that great of luck here either. And again, Tepe in that 96 truck also kind of just I believe he was a victim here as they get about 3 wide. Oh, maybe it looked like Tepe kind of got loose coming out of 2 and made contact with the 56. And again, that 97 truck, nowhere to go. Tough luck as he was trying to charge his way up through the field. And appears like his night might be over here as well. You see a little contact there between the 56 and 96. Go back down to the inside, and Levi, boom, nowhere to go. Unfortunate for him. Hopefully he can get his groove back again next week at Dover. And maybe hopefully his truck's not too damaged, but Kenneth, that didn't look like too good of a hit for Levi there.
Yeah, not a good hit for Levi, and definitely not what he wanted to see. Is, you know, the thing about these segments, and I think the positive thing that comes with these segments in this league is that if you have a struggling race, if you have a tough race, if you get into an incident, if you don't finish well in the first segment, that second segment serves as a breath of fresh air and kind of a fresh slate. You're able to start right back over. You're able to kind of test your destiny. You're able to really control your destiny, rather, and you're really able to get a better result and kind of flip-flop it around based on what you learned or what happened in that first segment. But unfortunately for Levi, it has not gone well on either end of the spectrum. In that first segment, we saw him getting into a handful of incidents, being mired back in the rear of the field. And now tonight, in this second segment, also not good whatsoever. And he'll be again with heavy damage near the rear. That is definitely not a good points day for the driver of that 97. And you saw Tate Lido there. Some minimal damage. He is currently down pit road getting that fixed. As you see Josh Duke also heading his way out, maybe topping off, getting some small damage fixed as well. It's also not good news for Lido, who was having a promising run in that opening segment. And now the second segment, he's going to be put in a big hole as River Hayes should get the 1 in the green signal this time by the iRacing official pace track. Actually, we'll wait one more time around, so we'll see exactly what happens. But early cautions, Mike, early, very early in this race.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, you know, it appears maybe not the aggressiveness has not ramped down at all, as it looks like I believe that was coming off pit road. It's a couple cars losing a lap. Nicholas Sneed losing a lap. I believe Tate Lido was able to stay on the lead lap, get out ahead of the leader, so he's still, if his truck's not too damaged, will be able to try to contend for whatever he can get, you know, in the final about 24 laps of this heat. And yeah, I mean, those who followed along here on KBRN too, watched that first heat between the battle between Lutz and Barney and kind of tracking their progress. They're back in the 11th and 12th position. So again, all night those two trucks have been together, and so far that they haven't been into any incidents in this second stage. But and maybe after being put in the back of the pack, maybe got them a chance to kind of think about what they have done. And we'll see if they can maybe keep it clean, work together and work their way up to the front, as we see the field getting 1 to green, doubling up, as we should be expecting a crazy restart here coming to lap number 12.
Yeah, and a very good bump up by Lutz and Barney, and I talked about it at the top of the second segment before we went green. It was going to be fun to watch them carve their way through the field, and they still have a couple trucks left to carve through before they get to the absolute front. So that's also going to be a lot of fun to watch. They've done well so far. Those incidents have also given them some extra leeway, so we'll keep an eye and monitor on them so far. But it'll be River Hayes and Steven Schumann, the first two trucks, Chevrolet Silverados, to lead us back to the green as the pace truck will roll off soon.
Yeah, we'll get ready for that pace truck to dive down pit road and get the restart here, as River Hayes is going to lead them back to the green flag on lap number 12. We'll see how good of a restart he gets. You see the field kind of fanning around behind him a little bit, as it looks like it's relatively calm from what we've seen in the first couple restarts, as River Hayes is going to get the advantage coming out of turn 1, and once again Schumann's going to get all he can handle from Matt Arcara as they're going to head down into turn number 3. Can Arcara hang on the inside line and get that advantage? But Schumann's got the preferred line. He's going to get a good run coming out of turn number 2.
And Arcara being very aggressive early on. He's been pretty quick. He's been trying to dug his nose underneath that 24, but that outside line again with the banking to help, especially in the exit off the corner, definitely does help, especially when you're able to diamond it off of the exit here. And you see they're getting side by side a little high up the racetrack went the 24 Schumann, but he'll have enough space to possibly still clear the 45. And he'll have it again as another yellow comes out on lap number 13. And it might have involved Tate Lytle again with Josh Duke.
Oh, man. Both these guys just not having a good night. And Shepard, I believe he was involved in a wreck in heat number 1 as well. So again, just guys kind of compounding. You could, like you said, you could have one good stage, one bad stage. But so far for these guys tonight, as you get a little bit of 3-wide situation, Lytle gets loose, collects. Oh, wow. What a job by Westergreen. Able to sneak through that. That was that had to be a little scary, but again, unfortunate for the 26 truck, the 56 and the 32 getting involved there and getting maybe a little bit more damage. Yeah, just getting the rear wheels from under him for Lytle. Oh man, and a hard hit for Duke. Shepard involved again as well. And here's that in-car view of Westergreen. This is what he saw coming on at turn number 2. As you see Lytle getting loose even before he got out of the corner, and this is where he just kind of went around. Oh man, that's it's a little bit of a pucker factor there going on for Westergreen, but able to get through, able to keep going strong here. But man, it just seems like for a guy like Josh Duke and Shepard and Lytle, you know, especially for Duke. Let's take a look at the slow-mo here. It's the truck sliding. But Duke, you know, he had that awesome second place, third place runs at Daytona, but kind of ever since then just hasn't quite had the luck go his way.
Yeah, and you see, I think it might have started right here where they were almost 3 wide with the 71 machine, and then that's when the 56 might have tried to duck out of that point, and then you see him try to correct the truck right there. You see him kind of hang it back straight and then try to loop it back to the left, and that was not enough. That was really what sent the truck back around, and then obviously got into the 26 of Shepard, then veering back into the 32. You see the 23 and the 2. Masterful job by both of them to get by the wreck without any damage, but it started right there with a possible 3 wide, and now we're under another quick yellow at lap 15.
Yeah, already our 3rd caution of this heat here, and wow, you know, looking at the standings already, you know, starting in the back of the pack, Ryan Lutz, you've seen the excitement he had heat number 1 between him and Barney. Lutz up to the 5th position, Barney all the way up into 8th. So maybe they separated from each other a little bit, but they're both charging up for the front. But so far, River Hayes has led all 16 laps of heat number 2. As you know, not too many green flag laps, but him and Arcara are you know, staying up front and trying to take advantage of the track position of the invert and try to turn fortunes around and maybe get a stage win. And the final stage here of the Seth Rawls Designs 101 here at New Hampshire for the OSCA series.
It's going to be fun to see what happens here, because now we're at the halfway mark of this second stage. I was expecting it a little bit longer, but it seems as though it was supposed to be, I believe, 48 laps, and it's now struck to about 34, as now we've got the 1 to green signal from the pace truck, so we should be going back green next time by. I've seen a lot of good things from Arcara here, Mike. He's definitely been able to carve his way through some of the positions. He started 3rd, but he's been able to scramble for 2nd, and he might have a good shot to take over the race seat. But don't look now. Guys like Gerald Campbell, Shane DiMantova, look at Ryan Lutz back into the 5th spot when we go back green, and Blake Barney behind him in the 8th spot. It's going to be a lot of fun to see them as they continue to carve their way through the field, and the fastest trucks surely are starting to come to the cream of the crop.
Yeah, you know, now our car, we've seen how hard he was charging. He's going to have that preferred line going into turn 1 on the outside if River Hayes doesn't get too good of a jump. Again, our heat number 1 winner, Gerald Campbell. Shane DiMantova, he wants to get his second heat win as well, as both those guys in this row number 2 has won heats at Daytona. Maybe DiMantova can repeat as well. And here River Hayes is going to take the green flag, and he's going to take the advantage in turn number 1. And Gerald Campbell right behind him, pushing River Hayes to a good advantage coming out of turn number 2. As now our car is going to be trying to do what he can to hang on into 3rd place, but Campbell takes advantage of 2nd. Here comes Ryan Lutz and Shane DiMantova. They're going to go up into 3rd and 4th spot. And we've already seen Ryan Lutz. We've seen how aggressive he has been in heat number 1. He's already got his eyes set on second and third here in heat number 2.
And not a good start by Arcara at all. He had that outside line. He could have easily made a semi-stable restart right next to the 81 of River Hayes, but that was definitely not the case, and he is now pushed back in the rest of this field all the way to just the edge of that top 5. So definitely not a good start. Maybe going to try and recoup. You see Blake Barney trying to dig in the nose, be aggressive down low. Definitely not enough space to get it done here, but watch that 36. Orion Lutz, the fastest truck on the racetrack. He's already digging his nose back to the inside for second.
He's going to try to get under Gerald Campbell. Can he take the advantage? But even Campbell's maybe putting a little pressure on River Hayes. Trying to get on that good run off the outside. Can he do it? So far, he's able to hold on to the second spot, but Lutz is on the inside. He's going to try to charge down into turn number 3. Can he get the advantage? Oh, and the caution has come out, and that might have saved Campbell from losing that second spot. And we'll see what happened, what brought out this caution. Oh, Edwards. And then Carpenter again kind of involved here in another wreck as they were down in the road course there. But we'll check out what happened on the replay. See, going down into turn number 1. Just getting out. He kind of got out in the marble. Arcara, ooh, looks like he was way up the racetrack. Coming 3 wide. Palmas in the 79 truck getting into Arcara goes around as well. Carpenter looked like he was trying to maybe locked him up, lost control of the truck a little bit. As, oh, that was kind of a hard hit between him and Arcara. And, oh, that's all started with Barney kind of charging his way up through the field. And a kind of accordion back. And, yeah, Palmas just washing up the racetrack on that bottom line. Ooh, Monticelli kind of getting a little bit of maybe damage there as well. Doesn't look like it's too bad for him, but a couple trucks, they'll have to work their way back up through the field. As we see caution number 4 already here in heat number 2.
When you see there was a contact between Tylon and the 23, seemed as though as he was trying to duck under the 45 to get away from the wreckage, he accidentally got into the 71 of Carpenter, which sent the 71 down to the inside wall. And then obviously collected Gabriel Edwards in there as well. Hard hit for Arcara. That was a rough couple of laps. I mean, running from a tough restart, getting mired back to the top 5, and then that incident here has now put him in a lot of trouble as he's down pit road. And Gerald Campbell should be the next driver to the race lead.
Yeah, it looked like River Hayes ducked down pit road to get some fresh rubber. Maybe try to get a late advantage here in heat number 2. But so far, really haven't run too many green flag laps. We'll see if he has enough time to charge back up to the front. But right now, we'll see what happens. Heat number 1 winner, Gerald Campbell, will start in the top spot. And right alongside of him will be Ryan Lutz. We've seen, and he finished second in the last heat, but also it was very entertaining with the 0-0 of Blake Barney and Kenneth. It's gonna be interesting because I believe once we double file them up, probably next lap, that 0-0 car, the truck that's gonna be ahead of him is gonna be the 36. Do you think they're gonna play it nice, or are we gonna see them be maybe a little bit aggressive with each other again?
I think to wave around the penalties, especially what happened in the first segment where they both got penalized for the aggressive driving that they had between each other, I think they're going to be a lot smarter. They're still going to push the issue. I have no doubt that the 36 will still try to be aggressive. I have no doubts that the 0-0 will try to be aggressive right back to take position. I think especially if it comes down to the win again between these two, it will be hard, or very, very tough. It'll be tooth and nail to get between each other, but I think they'll be a lot smarter. They keep in mind that there are penalties assessed. So for them too, they have to keep it smart between each other, not do anything too wild out of the ordinary, and then they should be okay in terms of that aggressivity. A little bump and run won't hurt, but if you definitely dump them out of the way, that might put yourself in a position for penalties. But however, look at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. All Shane DiMantova designs trucks led by Shane DiMantova, who will be starting on the inside of row number 2. And we haven't talked about Shane much of all tonight, but he's done well in segment 1, and now he's in a good position to set himself up for the finish in segment 2.
Yeah, he's trying to get as good of a points day as he possibly can. You know, he's trying to vote for a championship. He's in the top 10 in points. See him starting 7th in this heat number 2 and working his way all the way back up into 3rd. And up ahead of him is that points leader, Gerald Campbell. And again, we'll see what the bad boy Ryan Lutz could do on the outside. You know, how aggressive will the 00, how aggressive will the 36 are going to be once they go back to green? I think, like you said, the answer is going to be yes. They're going to be aggressive as we go back to green. In heat number 2 on lap number 25, is once again we see the field fan out on the restart. Looks like they're almost 4 wide, and Westergreen gets spun around on the front stretch. Oh, and he gets hit hard by Tepe. Oh man, once again a restart, and Tepe, it looks like he's smoking a little bit. That's not good. I believe that's another incident for him in this heat. Man, oh man, River Hayes, did he get through that? Starting in the back. We'll take a look at the replay. But these restarts are getting a little wild here, as I believe it was River Hayes that took him on the outside. It looks like Westergreen, the cars ahead of River Hayes didn't get the best restart and just kind of got pinched there. Oh man, Westergreen trying to salvage a good day here, is in the top 10. Kind of just runs out of room. Around he goes. Shepard again, another hit for Shepard in this heat as well. And I don't know where the damage from Tepe came along in, but it looked like he got, he was smoking there a little bit. Let's see, ooh, contact. Around goes Westergreen. I think Tepe got in the back of Shepard, and that's where his damage came into play. And yeah, it looks like significant damage to that 2 truck as well. Very unfortunate. A decent, solid run going for him. Uh-oh, look who we got in the lead. It's bad boy Ryan Lutz.
Yeah, Lutz was able to nose out in front of Gerald Campbell that time as soon as the yellow came out. And I think that was the product of Hayes having the fresher tires. Remember, we saw him head down pit road from the race lead, which he had the fresh rubber. He definitely got a better restart and then tried to make the space between himself, Westergreen, and the outside wall, but I don't think Westergreen really took note of that, or maybe just tried to force the 81 to kind of duck back in line, but obviously that didn't happen, and as a result, they both got in contact, sent Westergreen around, and now puts River Hayes with some damage as well on his Chevrolet Silverado, so not good news for either party here, and now another yellow as we wind down the laps of this race.
Yeah, the laps now are winding down here in heat number 2, as not many green flag laps again run yet on these tires, but kind of got to wonder. I think the top 7 have not pitted so far in this heat. I think you got to go back to Sherman in 8th. I believe he was running up in the 2nd position early on when he went down pit road, so he's going to have a little bit fresher tires from the guys ahead of him. And then Chris Jordan in 9th spot. He's been down pit road, I believe, a couple times, and see if they can take advantage of those fresh tires and maybe get up into the top 5, maybe even contend for the win. But it's maybe going to be hard to pass that 36 truck of Ryan Lutz. And we'll see if Gerald Campbell can salvage something to fight back and pull off a sweep. He's trying to get those brooms out. Arcara's getting back out on track. Good to see him back out there. Harrison, Harrison Talion, he had that damage early on in the race as well. So good to see these guys that had damage early on in this race getting back up there. Hopefully can salvage something and get a good final restart, as we do see. Yep, pace truck lights are off as we're going to double up, going back to green. And Kenneth, as we get ready for hopefully a cleaner restart, what do you expect to see in these final few laps here?
I certainly expect Lutz to possibly pull away with this lead. He's definitely been the fastest so far, but concerning with so many of the recent yellows we've had, and especially since they happened within the first 5 laps after the restart, I'm not sure that anything or any lead by Lutz will be guaranteed. It's all dependent on whether this stays green or not. I'm confident that if it stays green, Lutz will have enough to keep himself in the race lead. I'm sure Campbell can give a certain fight, as well as Barney, Demantova. They can all put some sort of pressure, but it all depends on whether this stays green or not, and we've yet to see that happen, so I'm curious to see whether it does. Lutz and Campbell, the first 2, going to lead us back to the green flag.
And here we come, getting ready to go back green. It'll be lap 30, be about 5 laps to go once they take the green, and here they go. Ryan Lutz leading them back to the green flag here in the Shane Rawls Designs 101 here at New Hampshire, and Shane DiMantova, he gets a good restart, gets a good run going into turn number 1. He's going to battle side by side for that second spot as Ryan Lutz, he's trying to pull away from them as much as they can, but Shane's now got his teammate of Blake Barney to battle with for now the 3rd spot. He's kind of falling back and maybe tucking back into the 4th spot, but right now, going back up front, Gerald Campbell right on that bumper, but 0.2 of a second between him and Ryan Lutz. Can he run him down? Will Ryan Lutz be able to hold him off, get that win, or will Blake Barney? We've seen again that heat number 1 between this 00 and the 36 truck. They're going to be aggressive, but we do get another caution, and once again Carpenter's going around, and they'll bring out another caution here late in the going.
Wow, that was so close. The final 4 laps. So curious to see what Campbell can do, or Barney, but they were single file, and then right at the midst of the rear of the field, I saw that 71 go straight dead around off turn 2. We'll try to take a look and see where that might have all started. I think he might have had a little help from the 52 of Gabriel Edwards coming out of the corner, but I think you see them here side by side. You see the 4, the 79. There's the 71 up top in that white, yellow, orange, and red Toyota Tundra. And then right into the outside wall, boom, there goes Matt Arcara as well, hard into the left side of that truck. But it was a contact between the 52 right there and sends the 71 around.
Yeah, and it was a hard hit for Arcara once again. And yeah, these guys just not having a good run in the back, just having bad luck, and woof, just stays off the wall, but Arcara kind of T-bones him. And kind of reminds me of an old Richard Childress song when the NASCAR sang a little, I think they tried singing country music back in the early 80s. You got to go look it up on YouTube. Richard Childress singing the song called T-Bone, and it's what he always said is it's the greatest fear of a racer's life is the crash they call T-Bone, and I'm sure for Carpenter and Arcara that was not what they wanted to see, late going here. But we're shaping up to have a green-white checkered finish, and once again we're gonna have on the front row Lutz and Campbell, but right behind Ryan Lutz once again is gonna be Blake Barney. And they're probably gonna play a little nicer than they did in heat number 1, Kenneth. But I would kind of expect too that, neither of these guys are gonna give each other a whole heck of a lot of room if they do happen to race side by side.
And what's gonna be interesting here, Mike, is that not only will the 00 have a chance to be in this top 3, he's gonna start on the inside of row number 1, or row number 2 rather, which means he'll be right at the target of the back bumper of that 36 right ahead of him when we head back into turn number 1. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a large dump, but I think the bumper, a slight little bumper, if he's able to get there, could definitely shuffle that 36 out of line, maybe push the 6 up the racetrack and give Barney enough space to dig his nose to the bottom and take away both of those positions. These are the final 2 laps when we get back to green. So I think Barney will probably try as much as he can, but he should try to keep it within the boundaries the best as possible.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, how it plays out in another green-white checkered finish here in heat number 2. And now maybe this is a spot where maybe Campbell once again hopefully can stay out of the trouble. Maybe that pink truck of Vincent Isabella, it might be his time to be licking his chops if he can avoid the trouble if things do get crazy on this restart. But I'm sure Ryan Lutz, he's going to try to get the best restart he possibly can. He was in this position in heat number 1, didn't get the best restart. Barney jumped maybe the restart a little bit. I think that's maybe what he got the penalty for in heat number 2, to have him start in the back. But these boys are back up front, and as I think now we'll be getting the 1 to go, as they already kind of doubled up on me. That kind of I wasn't really looking at the pace truck lights, and now we see them go off, and now they're officially lining back up, and I think it's gonna be a wild finish here, and hopefully all you guys watching on KBRN are enjoying the show so far here in the OSCA series, and I think it's gonna be a fantastic finish. Might be a wild finish once again, but hopefully they can battle it out for this green-white checkered, and we'll see what they got, Kenneth.
And again, we're going to fall into the hands of the green-white checkered. We've already had 2 attempts in the first segment. We could easily stretch it to 3 or more coming to the rest of this race. And especially with the drivers that are catered within the top 5, it will not be easy, Michael, as We'll just have to see what happens, whether they hold on or whether they wreck getting there. We'll just have to find out.
And find out we will as the pace truck's going to get ready to dive off for hopefully the final restart here. The green and white checkered as Ryan Lutz is going to lead them back to the green flag. And here we go. We're going to decide heat number 2 of who's going to win it. Oh, and Campbell slides that truck in, but Lutz is going to take advantage and get that first spot coming out of turn number 2. But Campbell's right on that back bumper with those 2 ID racing trucks right behind. But it looks like so far single file for that top four spots as they're going to be coming to the white flag. Who's going to win it? Is it going to be Campbell? Is it going to be Lutz? Here we go. Who's going to win it?
And as they take the white flag, here comes Ryan Lutz, going to dive back into turn 1. This is the final shot for either Campbell, Barney, or anyone behind to have something to say for that Chevrolet Silverado up front. Off of turn 2, the 36 will be clear. The 00 right to the back bumper to the inside of the 6 as the 36 tries to hold on to the checkered flag.
Barney's trying to do all he can to get back up towards the front, but it's going to be a little too late for Barney as they're going to be drag racing for second place. But Ryan Lutz is going to win heat number 2 here in the Seth Rawls Designs 101 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So, wow, I kind of flip-flopped the top 2 there between Ryan Lutz and Gerald Campbell as Ryan Lutz was able to rebound after the craziness of heat number 1, wins heat number 2, and he's going to be burning them down here and celebrate his first win in OSCA. So congratulations to Ryan Lutz, and that truck looks a lot cleaner than it did here in heat number 2 than it ended up in heat number 1 after the craziness that we saw between him and Barney.
Well, it definitely will, but this will feel so much sweeter. The burnout right in front of the virtual fans on the front straightaway here in New Hampshire. And remember, he finished second in the first segment after almost wrecking his race truck, getting into the 00 Barney, fighting for that race lead. Ended up finishing second and comes back from the rear of the field in segment 2 and takes over the win. Gerald Campbell also with well-needed points, both of them finishing second and first in either heat, flip-flopping this time by. The 36 will continue to celebrate down the front straightaway at a hard-earned victory, but nothing for anyone else to do before.
Yeah, it was, good. Again, speaking of good points days, it's going to be Vincent Isabella. We've seen him in the top 3 in the points. He gets a 4th place finish. Shane DiMantova, he gets 5th spot. Good runs for them. But again, we'll bring back in, before we bring in our race winner, we'll bring back in Gerald Campbell, who he didn't quite get heat number 2 win. He tried to pull that sweep off. Gerald, did you have anything for Ryan Lutz in that final restart?
Maybe if I was able to stage his outside going into that turn, but maybe I also, if I didn't have to worry about having a battle for the second place position, I might have been able to try to figure out a way. But Lutz is pretty good here, so I knew it was going to be difficult to beat him unless if I had some kind of strategy on the start. So it just didn't really play out exactly how I wanted it, but still to come home second. I feel better about this second than I did about the victory, to be honest with you. I felt like I earned the second place victory over that win way more. So I'm happier for the second place, believe it or not. So it just surprisingly somewhat clean racing up front this time around. It surprised me. When you're gonna have to go back and eat my words on my last interview there, but had fun there at the second.
Yeah, not a whole heck of a lot of green flag racing, but able to climb your way back up from that 10th starting spot, maybe around 9th after some of the EOLs were dealt out. But it's got to feel pretty good, get another solid top 5 finish, a second place run, and again with the heat win, second place finish, things are shaping up pretty good for you so far here in the points.
Yeah, I don't really points race. I always go out just to try to do the best I can on every single race. So I feel like for me, my driving style is I'll race pretty hard. I mean, I'm very hard to get around, very very tight to your side. I run really hard, but I don't like to just beat and bang for victories or anything like that. I like to earn them. I like to have hard side by side racing. So, I feel like drivers don't tend to race me too difficultly in those situations. Give a shout out to the 00. He raced me very clean, battling for that second position there, coming to the line. So, yeah, other than that, just gonna have to go out to the next one, see if I can continue to run well. I care more about that than I do a championship, to be honest with you. Going out and just having fun is my MO on all these races. I don't show up if I'm not having fun.
Yeah, just go out there, get the best you can, and let the chips fall where they may. But Kenneth, before we send Gerald off here, you have any questions for him?
Well, I noticed that obviously you had just said you race here for fun. You don't necessarily race for points, but the points definitely do matter, at least a little bit through the end of the day. And coming into this race, you had the points lead, and with a first and second now in either segment in this race, does this give you a little more ease going into Dover in terms of the fact that you're probably going to gap the rest of the guys behind you in the point standings, or how does that feel for you now that you'll continue to move forward with these finishes?
Double negative there. Ease and Dover don't really line up together. There is no ease in Dover. You're gonna anything that you thought that you had going into Dover can easily be taken away from you just because there is a wall on either side of you, and sometimes they like to give you the old 1-2 with trucks hitting you on both sides. So there's no ease at Dover. There's no that's a tough track. So what do I have for Dover? I'll be happy to survive Dover. So Dover is one of those tracks that it's going to eat the tires up. Restarts are always going to be a challenge. You always have that worry of wheel spin and those massive pileups on restarts, and of course there's always got to be one big massive pileup on the back straightaway that you have to try to figure out how to get around. So going into Dover, am I going to look at the point standings and try to race differently? No. It's easier to get through a pack if you're up towards the front than it is in the back. So my strategy is going to continue to be just running up front. So we'll see. We'll see how the car handles or truck handles at Dover. But thanks to the VFW, I run that on all my paint schemes. VFW is Veterans of Foreign Wars, big advocate of the vets. Go out and thank a vet, no matter if it's a holiday or not. If you see a vet, you thank them for their service because they did it for you and your freedom. So other than that, thank you guys. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. Well, again, another good solid day. It looked like you had a lot of fun right where you wanted to be up most of the day in both heats. So again, good luck to you, Dover. Hopefully you can put on another good show next week.
So I appreciate it. Thank you, Goodman. Hey, go Bucks.
Oh, that stings a little bit, man. Nah, that's why we kick him off now. Too soon, man. And that was Gerald Campbell, our second place finisher in heat number 2. Try to get a little dig on me about the Packers versus the Bucks. Bucks getting the Super Bowl win there. But now we'll bring in heat number 2 winner, and certainly probably the most entertaining guy to watch here tonight is that 36 truck. It's the bad boy. It's Ryan Lutz. Ryan, how did it feel to come all the way back in the back of the pack, work your way up, and get heat number 2 victory?
Yeah, it was a statement race for sure. The first race we ran hard. We had quite the battle with me and Blake. He's a hard racer, and so am I. So we definitely battled for the win. I came with about a minute left before the race, so I threw something at it real quick with brake bias, and it wasn't very good, but we got to tune in for the second race, and we made a statement for sure.
Yeah, and it looked like between you and the 00 Blake Barney, you're battling pretty hard, maybe getting yourself in a little bit of trouble, got that EOL, but for the most part, you guys kept your cars, your trucks, straight. I gotta ask you, have you guys done this before? Battle side by side like that?
No, that was actually the first time I've won against Blake. To be honest with you, my brother runs against him in the modified, so I know him in real life. So he's a good kid. He's a hell of a wheelman in real life. And it was the first time we actually ran side by side together, and it definitely made a show for the fans. And it got pretty physical at times, but we both kind of threw the first one away. I guess I was a little more aggressive than he was, but hey, you got to put on a show, right?
You certainly did that. And again, I think you might have missed a couple of races here. So, we talked to Gerald. How much does he care, about the points? And he even said no, and he's currently our points leader. But I know you Lutz. You're probably just going out there putting on a good show and just trying to go for victories, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I honestly totally forgot about this league. I was outside working with my street stock outside in our garage, and Vic messaged me on Twitter, and he's like, "Hey, race starts in 5 minutes," and I'm like, "Oh crap, man! I love Loudon. It's my favorite track," and I'm like, I ran sprinting inside. Hopefully, I made it in time. And we put that lap down in qualifying. And first race we weren't that good. We were way too snug. And the second race we got her tuned in and made a statement coming from 26th.
That was a very awesome run. Kenneth, you got anything for Lutzy boy here?
All right, and certainly I think one of the most amazing races we had seen. I think from the top of the commentary box, was watching you go toe to toe there with Blake Barney, and then obviously here taking away and walking off with the win to cap off the night. But I want to ask here, since I know that you were very, very fun to watch and very strong here at Loudon, should we expect to see some of that razzle dazzle when we head to the Monster Mile next week?
Every time you see the 36 crew on the racetrack, bud, you should be razzle dazzle. Let me just tell you that.
Making a statement, man. Wow. Yeah. I mean, we kind of talked about you at the beginning of the show. Anytime you're out there, you're going to be aggressive. Kind of got that, Kyle Busch or Dale Senior-esque kind of running where, you're going to have to earn it. Campbell might be more of that guy that likes to run it, clean side by side. But, it seems like you're not afraid to lay that bumper down. And hopefully, I think you kind of got that little bit of a, I didn't mean to spin him out. I meant to rattle his cage, as we certainly seen you in that 0-0 battle it pretty hard side by side, fender to fender, but able to keep it straight.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love iRacing. I think it's fun when you get a good group of guys, which is why I run so many leagues. I mean, this is my 6th league race this week, and I don't know. I like running hard, and I like being ran hard. I don't mind getting doored. I don't mind, getting punted. I don't mind it. For me, I grew up that way. My dad was rough just like me when he ran, and I watched him as a kid. And I think, if a win's there, why not go for it? Why, and if it's in an opportunity, I think, if the hole closes up, that's racing, and it's for me, that's my kind of driving style, and I kind of go for wins other than points. I'm here for the wins. I'm in all the leagues for wins. If the points fall where they fall, they fall where they fall. But if a hole's there, I mean, I expect if a hole's there for anyone, for them to go for it, and I expect the same, from anyone else than I would do to them.
Yeah, certainly, and we'll expect to see you put on another great show next week at Dover. Hopefully you remember the race is going to be on same time next week, Lutzy. Just remember that. And with that, any final closing words, any shout outs you want to give out tonight?
Yeah, just thanks to you, Michael. You guys do an awesome broadcast. You can, it's cool to go back and watch it. Dick puts a good league on. This is my first time here, so he's got some tweaking to do to make it a little bit better. I think he's got a good group of guys. They're racers. Vince said he brought me aboard. So it's a good group of guys. I'll definitely be back here at Dover, and just thanks to everyone that puts leagues on, and takes the time to put this show on.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I think we do have a very exciting league here in OSCA, and hopefully the trend gets better, and also continues to put on very entertaining races. But congratulations again, Lutz, on your win, and hopefully you can come back. Remember to come back next week and put on a good show.
Oh yeah, bud, we'll be there.
Sounds good. Again, that's Ryan Lutz, winner of heat number 2. And wow, with all that excitement, Kenneth, that it kind of winds us down, and kind of as we were talking about, we're going to Dover next week, and how wild that track is. I expect to see a whole heck of a lot more excitement also coming up next week, as you see the future schedule. A couple tracks coming up ahead in Dover and Martinsville. We should see that aggressiveness probably won't subside in the next coming weeks.
I think the concern, Michael, is very high here. Dover, Martinsville, those are not easy tracks to go through, let alone back-to-back on race 4 and race number 5, one right after the other. That's going to be an insane amount of fun, an insane amount of chaos. I think we get to embrace the chaos a little more here, at least through these next 2 races. And, of course, there will be still the strong drivers. We've seen drivers that have been proficient on the short tracks, and we saw it here tonight. I think this was our first pure example of which drivers to watch for on the short tracks. I think Ryan Lutz put out a show. He, like you said there in the interview, he put out a statement to the rest of these drivers. Blake Barney, I think he should also walk away knowing he put a statement to the rest of the field, knowing how strong he was. Gerald Campbell, I think as the point seeder, I think everybody kind of knows how strong he's been week in and week out. But for a lot of these drivers that finished, even within this top 5, Vincent Isabella, Shane DiMantova, all 3 of the Shane DiMantova Designs trucks rolling off right in position with each other. Those guys did very well at the end of segment 2, and now it's going to be a lot of fun once we rumble to Monster Mile next week.
Yeah, it should be something to look forward to. And again, you can check that out right here next week, next Thursday night here on KBRN. But until then, it's been a fun one here in the SethRowellDesigns.com 101 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And hopefully see you next time right here for some more OSCA action. For Mike Goodman, for Kenneth Bueno, I'm Mike Goodman. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.